Welcome to another edition of the No Stingy Energy Podcast, where we talk wealth, health, and all of those things that go in between their relationships and all. But today I have a special guest, man. I got my guy, Jeff the Builder, and he's a fellow Houstonian, and he's a developer and investor, all of the things, just pretty much all things real estate, from renting Airbnbs to building your own stuff, which I think is extremely dope. So, Jeff, you mind kind of giving the people an introduction to who you are, what you do, for the people who may not know?
Yeah, of course. Byron, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. This is an honor.
Absolutely.
Really happy when you reached out. And so I'm Jeff the Builder, owner and CEO of Vecino Homes. We're a residential real estate development and construction company in Houston, Texas. We build mainly spec homes, ground up, 350 to 550 sales price. And we have a extensive rental portfolio as well. That's kind of the investor side. And we're actually also starting a mentorship/coaching program to help people as well get into the business. But I started Vecino Homes like 2017. I was working full-time in oil and gas as an engineer.
Nice.
I wanted to get out of the rat race. So did you have a professional background before you got into
I was actually
investing?
a nurse before. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, ICU nursing. Yeah. So
Wow, that's an intensive, stressful job.
Very. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tell me this. So you just got in 2017 from engineering. You wanted to get out of the rat race. What did you hate so much about that rat race?
I mean, I studied mechanical engineering. I graduated in 2011. So I got a job. I was so excited to have a job, have some money, it'll pay bills. But then, years went by and I kind of saw like people retiring, at 65, and like I saw people as they climbed the ladder, they weren't happier. They just worked a lot more.
Yeah.
They got paid like, a few percent more, a little bit more, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted freedom.
Yeah.
The freedom of time and to be able to go ahead and like live life on my terms and not the corporate terms. So that's kind of what happened after the years. I kind of saw that like this wasn't the direction I wanted for myself.
Yeah. And so do you feel you naturally had that entrepreneurial spirit, or was that something you gained after working?
So I have to give credit to my father. So my father started, he's called Medical Innovations, a medical wholesale company located in Maryland. And
okay.
I worked for him in the warehouse. I pushed boxes around and, but it wasn't really my thing.
Yeah.
But he kind of showed me like, hey, like there are other options out there. You don't need to go work for somebody else. It wasn't my passion, like I said, medical wholesale, but I kind of found my passion in real estate.
Nice. And so out of all of the things that you could have picked, what was it that attracted you to real estate?
So as a mechanical engineer, I had this idea when I graduated college, like I'm going to go build things and design stuff. And really, I just pushed papers on a desk. I mean, that's really what happened. Like, yeah, I just like signed off on stuff and pushed papers. And so I guess real estate attracted me because you can see physical improvements. And that's the thing that I liked. I mean, real estate, housing is a necessity. People need a roof over their heads.
Absolutely.
So that was, providing shelter to people is, I think, to me, it was very rewarding. It is very rewarding. And, combining that with business, building and selling houses, that's what really attracted me to see, like, going from dirt to a brand new home, or like we did some remodels. So like an older home that is boarded up to a beautiful, like, home that people can live in again.
I love that, man. It's funny, man, that you say that, because I just have this thing about adding value to the world, right? So it's a thing with me. I just want to add more value to the world as a result of me being here than when I got here. And seeing something go from dirt to an actual family living in it is just fulfilling for me. Yeah. And so what was that? So you went directly into development, or?
No.
Okay.
So while I was working as an engineer, I ended up going ahead and buying a foreclosed home. And then living in it, remodeling it. So that was back in like 2012, 2013. So I ended up starting the company officially in 2017.
Okay.
But I already kind of gotten my hands dirty and doing it on the side as I worked. And then in 2017, I still was working in oil and gas. I worked for another year and a half until I jumped ship in mid-2018. It was July. I remember
So you just did a rehab, or?
It was rehabs, very extensive. remodels. So
That's kind of bold, bro.
it was
like,
very. I mean, the first house had a pool that was out of the ground. Like, have you seen a gunite pool pop?
Nah.
Yeah. So gunite pools in Houston, don't leave them empty because essentially, you used to build boats out of concrete. So concrete, it'll float. And because the water tables are so high in Houston, if you leave a gunite pool empty, it'll pop. The hydrostatic pressure will push it up.
Wow. So, I can see that.
Yeah.
So it has to stay full to keep
it down.
Wow. Never would have thought about that. But that makes sense, though. That makes sense. So, okay. So you just... So wait a minute. That's bold, bro. So you literally, your first deal, you bought a foreclosed house and just said, I'm just gonna rehab it.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's nothing. I mean, it was a 1989 build. It was like foreclosed on. It was vacant for like 2 years.
Okay.
It was just disgusting. I mean, it smelled. It had like, mold everywhere and stuff. And
did you have any training, any mentors?
No.
You just said, I'm gonna buy a house and just...
I watched too much HGTV, man. I was like,
gotcha.
They do like 30-minute episodes. Like, anyone can do it. And so HGTV is very misleading. I mean...
Very, very, very. That is not where you want to get your...
No.
So wait a minute. So what? Okay. So how did this process go? Okay. So you get your because here's the thing. I'm a big proponent of. I believe anybody, if you want to be an entrepreneur, I believe everybody should flip. Whether you keep a 9-to-5 or not, you should flip at least 1 to 3 homes a year. That right there can literally change your life. Even if you never scale beyond that. A lot of times we want to scale beyond that, but you bought a foreclosed house that was an extensive rehab. What kind of issues did you run into on that first one? Because
all sorts of issues. So we did I highly recommend we did FHA 2 or 3K loan. Are you familiar with that loan product?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically they lend you money to acquire the house and money put in escrow to fix.
Yes.
So I budgeted $45,000.
So you did a 2OK3 loan on your first one?
Yeah, it was a $126,000 purchase. And I budgeted $45,000 for renovations, and we spent a lot more than that. So.
I'm pretty sure. So real quick. So 203K loan, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain to everybody who may be listening, because that is more for personal.
Correct.
So can you explain how did you approach the bank to get that done?
Yeah. So when you're getting into buying your first property to fix.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally view it as advantageous to go ahead and buy as a personal residence if you can, because you'll get much more favorable financial terms. Because when you have absolutely no experience, you're looked at very unfavorably.
Facts.
If you can even get financing, it's going to be very high interest. It's usually from a hard money lender. So we got very favorable. We got 3% down, right? Wow. So we brought this was a long time ago. This is 12 plus years ago. So I think it was under 10 grand to close. And so we call it a house hack, right? We call it a house hack. So that's what we did. Essentially, I bought this house to go ahead and, live in, fix up, and then eventually sell.
Gotcha. So how long did you, purchase it and then sell it?
Held on to it for 2 years, which 2 years is that magical number. You were
Gotcha.
Yeah. So 2 years. It took about a year to get it all the way done. It took forever.
Why
100%, all the details, because I ended up spending $90,000 instead of $46,000 or $45,000. So I think $15,000 went into the pool. So pools are a pain in the butt to fix. Don't buy.
Just skip past those.
Yeah.
Skip past those, or fill it with dirt. You know what I mean? So okay, so you budgeted for 45, ended up needing 90,000. Did you even profit on this deal?
Oh no, we did. I definitely. So I bought it for 126.
Okay.
Put 90 into it and sold it for 305,000.
Wow.
So
what part of town was this in?
It was Missouri City. I used to work out. I worked for Schlumberger in that area, 59 and 90 area.
Gotcha.
Sugarland.
Okay, so it was a nice area.
It was a suburb. Yeah.
So you still profited. How much you said on this one?
I made about $70K. I would say.
First deal.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's not normal.
Yeah. My first one, I did 63.
Yeah.
My first deal, I did 63. But 70K is crazy. So you made 70K and you had a ton of mistakes, right? You over budgeted ridiculously. The saving grace to that was you had a 2OK3 loan, right? A 203. I always mix it up.
Right. Yeah.
But you had this loan, which is technically a FHA product, right?
Correct.
And so that was another saving grace. You held on for 2 years. And then, dang, that's a healthy profit, bro.
Yeah, no, it was luck. It was a lot of luck. I mean, I bought it right. 126,000. I mean, this was 2012. I don't remember back in 2012. Like the market,
it was
not
really
different. Moving. There's still a lot of foreclosed homes in the market from the crash of like 2009. So it was definitely luck. I mean, I did not run my numbers right. You gotta run your numbers right.
Let's talk about buying this foreclosed home. So how did you meet the seller, and what was that exchange like?
So it was on the market. It was listed. It was a bank-owned home.
Gotcha.
So, but the thing is that nowadays, like there's number of bank-owned homes is very few and far between right now. I mean, the foreclosure rates are super low.
Yes, so, that's true.
And honestly, I don't think like as far as a foreclosed home versus unforeclosed, some people think a foreclosure is a good deal. Yeah. And that's not necessarily the case. It means that somebody stopped paying the mortgage.
Facts.
And the lender took it back.
Facts.
That's all it means.
Facts.
So foreclosure doesn't mean good deal.
Yeah, because it depends on how much is still left on that mortgage can make all of the difference. So basically, you got your first deal, foreclosed home, and then you were like, I just made $70K on this deal. What were you thinking after making that much profit on that first deal? What stuff started triggering in your brain?
I want to do this again. And then also, like to me, this was a true house hack because rent out a room, which paid half the mortgage to like this other engineer from the Philippines.
Wow.
He paid $650 a month in cash to rent a room, a furnished room. So if you're willing to like I was 23, 24, I was young, right?
Yeah.
So, at that point, I just wanted to go ahead and build my net worth. And I knew that I was willing to take sacrifices. Now I'm 36, so I don't want to rent out rooms. I'll rent out Airbnb.
Like, I don't want to see you like that. Like,
yeah. Like, I'll rent out like an AD on my property, like fine, but like not in my house.
Facts.
This was in my house.
Wow.
So to me, if you're willing to make the sacrifices, and like, live in a flip, which is not fun.
Yeah.
I mean, never done it.
Every day you're having to fix something I've never done that. Probably wouldn't recommend that. That's probably an ugly existence for a year too.
Yeah. It's cooking on a grill, using a microwave, a mini fridge. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, if people are looking to get their first deal, doing a house hack, taking advantage of, financing where, you're going to be the borrower versus your company to get your feet in the door is definitely a way to go. And doing like a 2 or 3K product where you can roll in funds is smart. And then doing your numbers right and talking to somebody to confirm. Because if I would have sent my numbers as like a professional, like somebody who has experience, if I would have sent my numbers to me today, I'd be like, you're an idiot. Don't do that. So
that's crazy. So the good thing is that you still won on the deal. My thing is, it was actually genius that you decided to house hack. So you not only, bro, that's genius. So not only did you make a profit on the flip, but you also got some cushion on the mortgage because you were getting $600 a month as assistance.
Yeah.
So where did that mindset come from? I mean, because you didn't get any official training. So who told you to run that play?
I mean, to me, I was living in a 4-bedroom house and I was like, I don't need all this. I want to rent out a room.
Yeah.
So that's, like I said, if you're willing to take that sacrifice, like today I wouldn't, but what I would do, and my fiance and I are looking at potentially getting our first house, and we're looking at buying a house and putting an ADU in the back and renting that out, which is someone's like completely separate. Ideally, if we can find something where they have like a separate entrance and separate parking, but we'll see. But to me, I just, I'm very comfortable with debt, but like when it comes to personal debt, like business debt, personal debt, I'm like, no, I don't want that.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
That is wow. I love it. So let's talk about you. Okay, so you do this first deal. What was that next deal like? What was that like?
So next deal was another personal home to kind of the same deal.
So he's like rinse and repeat.
So I didn't do that
it
again.
ain't broke, don't fix it.
It was in the East End. this was also crazy because it was like, let's rip the roof off. Because in the East End, like, there are a lot of small bungalows, right?
Yeah.
And they're all like 2 bedroom, 1 bath, like 1,000 square feet. Well, nobody wants a 1,000 square foot house anymore. So that's what I ended up doing is we took the roof off and went up a story.
Wow.
So that was also kind of a
crazy.
big deal.
So wait a minute. I just got to preface by saying, wait a minute. Listen, these are crazy rehabs. This is extremely risky. So I just want everybody to know this is not regular. You know what I mean? This is not regular. So if you, because, okay, so let's talk about this. So you took the roof off, made a second story. So let's talk about the permitting for this.
Yeah.
Did you get any permitting for this?
Oh, yeah. So, our house in Missouri City, there are no permits because it's all internal. So house in Missouri City got a new roof, new HVAC, new driveway, new like insulation. Obviously, the pool is fixed, new flooring, new cabinets, new countertops, new light fixtures, plumbing fixtures. Yeah. But the plumbing and the walls was good, relatively. It was aluminum wire. No, sorry, it was not aluminum. It was copper wiring, which is good.
Okay, got you.
So we didn't pull permits. We should have technically pulled permits. I should have, but we didn't.
Yeah.
The one at East End, I pulled permits because we took the roof off.
Yeah,
I want to do it the right way. And please, honestly, guys, pull permits like if you're doing anything extensive because it will bite you in the butt if you don't.
Because they drive around. They'll catch you. They'll catch you.
And so, we had to get full architecturals, full structural drawings.
Okay.
But because I wasn't required to do civil, which I mean, if you're doing development, that's one benefit of doing a flip is you typically don't need civil engineering.
Facts.
So it was quite extensive. Ripping the roof off, we added trusses, so got floor trusses installed. Yeah. And went up, and it was, a lot. Yeah. So that one had a detached garage and garage apartment. I ended up living in that while I finished fixing up the main house. So it was, like I said, ADUs are great.
Yeah.
Do you have any properties that have ADUs on them?
No.
Okay.
I need one though. That I like the concept of it. A lot of the ones that I have now just don't. We don't have the land because we're eating up everything that we can. You know what I mean? But so you're living in an ADU. This is crazy. You rip the roof off, right? And then you build up. So tell me this: were the studs on that foundational unit good enough to support the additional story? Yeah,
so we had an engineer had to come by and check to make sure, and we had to reinforce the foundation. So it was a pier and beam.
Gotcha.
The pier and beams are really easy to modify. Yeah, it's just sitting on blocks essentially. Yeah. So you just add more blocks. Yeah. Like you have more blocks and more beams. Yeah. So it's pretty easy to make them more beefy. But as a slab on grade and as a 1 story, it's hard because that was specifically engineered to be 1 story. Yes. And to add additional reinforcements is quite difficult.
Can you kind of break down, I guess, the thought process as to what you learned in that whole, like, going up another story, slab, all of that? Just kind of break that down for the people who may not understand all of that from a technical standpoint.
Yeah, so basically, whenever you want to modify a structure and move load bearing anything, you need an engineer involved. Yes. So don't take walls out without an engineer looking at them because your whole house could come tumbling down on you. Yeah. So, make sure that you're getting an engineer to thoroughly inspect the house and then to do the drawings accordingly and to make sure they're specifying the proper structural members. What I learned is that engineered trusses are great because engineered trusses, they're called engineered open web trusses. And essentially it looks like, a zigzag or a honeycomb, right? Yeah. Absolutely. Trusses. And it lets your HVAC guy run his ducts without having to fur down the ceilings, lets your plumber run his plumbing, electrician run his lights really nicely versus the old style, which was 2x12s. And 2x12s, you can't really drill holes in them that are much bigger than an electrical wire or like a water line. So I learned those are great. Yes. I learned that, watching lifting this house, reinforcing it was a learning experience. But I kind of understood what it took. That was, I guess, a little bit of ignorance is it makes you a little braver when you don't understand all the risks. Yeah. That house almost fell down. It was because the garage also got lifted. It was just bro. It was very extensive remodel. I remember actually standing there with me and my buddy because the garage, it was a 1920s built house. And so these houses, I don't know if it's sunk into the ground or it was built really low.
Yeah,
it seems like old house, like 6'6" garages, like where you can like, a tall dude will hit his head. So we ended up lifting the whole thing up and repouring a foundation underneath the garage. So it was very, and the thing was like shifting. I know you saw like after the storm, some houses, I seen some new builds.
Leaning.
Yeah. So basically like the guy got a backhoe and pushed it back like plumb. It was
crazy, bro.
So it was, so I don't do what I did.
Yo. So here's the thing. I gotta speak because here's the thing. I recommend, right, anybody that's looking to flip some houses, right, pick you some lipstick, some paint. You know what I mean? Yeah, go that route. But here's the deal. I bet you doing those big flips like that open your mind from a development standpoint and was like, yo, I really can build out these things from scratch.
That's you're right. Like I was like, this is difficult and everything is so unique. Wouldn't it be so nice to like have some economies of scale? And so I was like, why don't you build new? I'm like, I'm gonna do that. Like,
absolutely. So let's talk about that. So on that second deal, did you make money on that deal too?
Yeah, I bought it for $150, put like $175 into it. I mean, today it'll probably appraise like $5 something, like $525.
Technically, it would appraise for $500,000 now.
Yeah,
that's insane. How much do you feel like you put into that deal?
Like $175. So the bought for $150, $175 improvements.
Gotcha.
So, but like you were saying, if someone wants to get into this game, doing these crazy remodels is not the way to go. Yeah. Unless you have somebody who's really experienced by your side. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, I did this kind of with no guardrails. So if you're going to do something like, honestly, at any level, even if you're doing a cosmetic remodel, you want to get somebody who knows what they're doing to kind of look over your shoulder because you might think it's cosmetic, but a professional comes in like, yeah, it's not cosmetic. Like it has termite damage. It has like some things you might not be able to see. Yeah. So I think at any level, it's good to go ahead and have a sounding board, somebody who's got experience to talk to, whether it's a mentor or just a friend or, something, because you can really get yourself into some hot water. And I got myself in, but I got out, luckily. So yeah, you were able to see it through. A lot of people, it's funny. A lot of people get discouraged halfway in and then they quit halfway in. They quietly quit, and then get stuck with a bad situation. So real quick, so you got the second deal off, but I want to go back to the first deal because you mentioned a 203K loan. How did you get them to approve you from a building standpoint? That's definitely a good question because you need a contractor to sign on the loan with you. And so I talked to contractors and I said, I don't know how this happened, but I went to an HVAC guy and I got a bunch of bids on the house. And then I asked, for some reason, the HVAC guy, his name was Mario, I remember him to this day. And like, hey man, like I want you to do my HVAC, but I also want you to be my contractor. Wink, wink. Like, and so I'm like, wait, well, he's like, what? Like, no, you're going to sign as a contractor. I'm going to do all the work. We're just going to be the middleman. Yeah. And he did it. Like he stuck his neck out for me. So like, wow. He didn't really know me, but yeah. So essentially, I did the work and he actually like, I trusted him a lot. Yeah. Because the checks then they go to him and then he signed them over to me. It was crazy. So, cause he could have just like, did you pay him at least for that? I gave him a little bit. Yeah. I gave him like something. It was like a few $1,000. Gotcha. So it wasn't crazy, but wow. So 203K loans, that is a thing. So you need a contractor to technically be on the deal with you. Yes. So you can't be your own contractor. And now I heard that they like you, they vet the contractor these days now. So you got to have experience. Yeah. You got to have a couple projects going. You had to sign a bunch of papers. Dude was probably like, yo. He had to come to closing with me. That is crazy. Yeah. Crazy. So this is what I like about this, Jeff, and this is what I like about you. And I could tell that you have literally every single pedigree to be successful. Thank you. Bro, you made a way out of no way in every situation and had zero
Because here's the thing. Everybody's listening to this right now and thinking, oh, it just worked out. No. Bro, you went from, first of all, you did a heavy rehab on your first deal. You had to turn a HVAC guy into a contractor, right? On the first deal. You took forever. You went over budget like more than double.
Yeah.
And still profited $70K. Rented that property out to a stranger, right? Because you didn't even know this guy.
Craigslist.
My Jesus. Yo. And still walked away not only with a profit, but eager to go into the next deal where you took the roof off.
Yeah. And the thing is that, like, doing these kind of things, like you said, I think starting out with something that's much smaller in scope is the way to go. And then also, just in this business, you have to be okay with risk.
Yes.
Like, not saying take the level of risk that I took.
Yeah.
But if you get into this business, like, no, I want no risks, then like, oh my God, it's not the right business for you. I mean, you definitely want to understand your risks. Yes. There's going to be risk.
The beauty is two things that I think that you can preface or you can add to this, right? Number one, you bought the properties right? So again, if you do want to do a heavy rehab, get the numbers right? Because you bought it at a price technically where if you needed to knock it down and just do new construction, you probably could have, and to a certain degree, and maybe walked away with a profit with those numbers. Because I'm thinking about one, you got it at 150 and it was worth 500 today.
Yeah.
Right. The other one was, what was the numbers that you bought it for?
126.
126 and 300.
90,000 in it. So. Yeah, I definitely, like, if you're going to buy something that requires heavy rehab, it's just best to buy it at dirt value. Yeah. Because, like, these heavy rehabs, a lot of times you're investing so much money into the demolition and kind of prepping it to kind of put back together again. Yeah. That it offsets any benefit of salvaging any existing structure. So that's kind of the philosophy we take now. If we're buying existing that's going to need complete stud down, like, we're offering them dirt value.
I love that. So you do a couple deals, rehab deals, and you're just kind of randomly putting stuff together. Yeah. Right? Still working full time.
Correct.
And then you say, you know what? I want to develop communities and, and build spec homes from ground up. And I want to do Airbnb and this stuff may or may not be vertically integrated. And it's like, how did you even get into that mindset to try to make those transitions?
So I actually, before I got into ground up, I did a flip. I was like, I don't want to do a flip I don't live in. Gotcha. So I bought a house in the East End I didn't live in. And went ahead and remodeled that with an addition. It was single story. So that one, I was like, I'm gonna be clever and not do permits, and I got caught red-handed, and like it was such a pain in the butt to untangle that mess. So don't do it without permits.
Yeah. It ain't worth
I was young and dumb, and I was like, permits, it just slow me down. And like, if you know like how to do your thing right, like the city's out the next day. The city's a pain in the butt, but they're pretty responsive. Like you call a permit, an inspection, they're out the next day.
Facts.
So that's a good thing. And then we got to the very end, and they're like, we need to get gas connected. And they're like, they wouldn't connect gas because they're like, where's your permit? Like,
that's how they get you.
They get you.
That's how they get you. So, it's either the gas or the electrical. Electrical. Oh my God. I did the same thing. So
just don't make the mistakes that we made. Just pull the permit.
Pull the permit. It's not even worth it.
And it's gonna like just save you so many headaches. Headaches. Yeah. It's really not worth it. But
the creativity that you had to go through to get those permits, it's just insane. You don't want to do it. So, but yeah. So what were you saying?
So yeah, I mean, we had architectural drawings, we had structural drawings. So it was like, absolutely do not build anything without plans.
Facts.
Like unless you're just painting walls and changing flooring, fine. If you're moving walls around or anything like that, have plans. You're asking for a nightmare situation if you do build without plans.
Facts.
So after that flip, then things started blowing up. So I ended up partnering with my realtor at the time to rehab like 4 small houses. And then at the same time, I had another rehab. So 2 rehabs. So I had, I think, 6 rehabs, and then I started 3 new construction homes. And so I had about 9 projects going and working full time. So it was, this was like 20, Yeah, so 2018.
So wait a minute. So that was 9 projects going. So you had how many rehabs? It was
I think 6 rehabs
and
then
4 new constructions.
3 new constructions.
3 new constructions. Yeah. My Jesus. All at the same time.
All the same, yeah.
Working full time.
And I made mistakes because of it. Like, so.
That's a lot. So you're servicing all of this debt, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you got a realtor that's helping you service the debt?
So we partnered on one deal. So it was 4 small homes we bought together. Like I said, this was back in 2018 timeframe. So we bought these things for like stupid cheap.
Yeah.
This was 77012. So it's like right kind of where Harrisburg turns into Broadway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like down like kind of by the light rail ends.
Absolutely.
So I think we bought these things for like literally 4 houses on 2 5,000 square foot lots for like under $100,000. It was like stupid cheap.
Crazy. Yeah. You can't even breathe over there for them kind of numbers.
And like I said, we made all sorts of mistakes because I wasn't able to keep an eye on everybody. It just wasn't physically possible to be in so many job sites and also work a full-time job at the same time. So like we had a foundation contractor go in who said he leveled the foundation. He didn't do anything. He just sent someone under the house to crawl around a little bit. And like we just kept pushing forward. And then like we get to the end of the project, you know, it's like our foundation's jacked up. And so we had to like re-level the house, which caused all sorts of problems with like sheetrock cracking, doors had to get re-leveled. It was a mess.
Did you have any plumbing issues as well when you had to?
Yeah, I'm sure we had a like plumbing issue get fixed. I mean, the foundation guy kind of, you know, screwed us over in a way, and that kind of just dominoed in. I mean, like my concrete guy who did my first house in Missouri City, like I still work with him today. Yeah. So like, you know, it's a 12-year plus relationship. And so like we got some good guys along the way. Yeah. And we maintain, you know, we work with them still.
Did you go after this foundation guy?
I ended up not really because it wasn't worth it. I mean, it was like maybe like $5,000 and, you know, legal fees are going to be much more than $5,000. So it's just, I didn't have a written contract either. So like, that's the thing, like always get things in writing. Yeah. That's another thing I've learned.
You gave him cash? Or?
No, didn't make cash, but a check. Yeah. Still like, it's, you know, hiring a lawyer,
done, it's done.
The retainer is like that much. So
let's talk about these 9 projects. Okay. What are you doing to track the expenses, the ingoing, outgoing? What are you doing?
Oh, at that time, like, it was an absolute mess. Like I was doing almost nothing to track expenses. It was, like I said, this is like, so now, I mean, nowadays we're very sophisticated, but then like it was, you know, like Excel or like, you know, I think I like had an accountant then and just like they were recording QuickBooks transactions, but nothing was being categorized. And so,
but at least you had something tracked.
I mean, sure. It was very, very minimal. Like it was almost worthless. I mean, we had with the partner, we had a separate entity, so that was easy to track. Okay. But everything else was kind of in this one big bucket. So the other 2 rehabs plus 3 new construction. And so down the road, it became this big mess we had to kind of unwind or unravel. So I would definitely recommend putting systems in place to track your expenses. You know where money is going, because if you look like even a few months later and you look at, why did somebody go to Home Depot and spend like $600? Yeah. Like, I have no idea. Like, what did they buy? I don't know. For what project? I don't know. And
maybe it's a hammer. I don't know. Like,
yeah. No,
you need hammers.
We've caught we've caught contractors like buying tools for themselves. You know, like they're supposed to go like, you know, get some tile material. Yeah. And they're like, you know, they buy bags of float and like cement. And you're like, wait, why did you buy like that tile tool? Like, why did you buy that trowel? Like that trowel is
it has nothing to do with this project, bro. What are we doing?
I mean, like maybe use it at my house, but you're gonna take it with you to the next job. So
crazy. So all right, so you do have Excel, you do have
like QuickBooks online,
right? So that's something, right? I know people that are still, you know, So that at least you had that. So what did you learn and what are you using now to kind of like, you know, track expenses?
Yeah, so we've come a long way. So we're using QuickBooks Online still, but basically we've gotten sophisticated where everything is like, you know, we're getting invoices for everything, whether it's material purchasing or our contractors sending us invoices. And then we use Builder Trend. Have you heard of it?
Yes,
it's a project management software.
Absolutely.
And so it actually integrates with QuickBooks. And so for every project now, we have budgets, and then we track our budget versus actual expenses. So all our invoices in there. And so I have a great controller. Her name's Greta. She's out of Mexico City. So she does that for us. So she's kind of the
like a virtual assistant.
Virtual assistant, correct. But nice. She's over all of the money. So she watches, every dime that kind of goes in and out of
So she'll know
accounts.
if they put an extra hammer in the basket
exactly
at Home Depot. Yeah. She'll hit you up like, yo.
So she watches.
Jose just added another hammer in here. You know what I mean? You need to probably call him up. All right. So build a trend, which is, listen, build a trend is not cheap.
No, it's not. It's like, I think we spent like $800 a month or so on
sheesh.
It. So, but it's kind of like, the backbone to our business because it manages the scheduling for all our projects, right? Just intercommunication between. So we have a good team at Vecino Homes. So I'm the CEO and owner. We have a quality manager. We got 2 project managers. We have an admin who in office and kind of keeps us all in order and does the checks to make sure all utility bills are paid, that kind of stuff. We got a controller who makes sure keeps the eye on the money, make sure it's coming in and out appropriately. And then we got a procurement specialist out of Belize, Rashida. She's great.
What does she do?
She's procurement, so she buys everything. So
Gotcha.
she shops professionally. So she makes sure like when we get lumber bids, we're comparing like BFS versus McCoy's versus 84 versus Home Depot, and so we're getting competitive bidding on everything, and that saves us lots of money.
That's dope. I like that.
I recommend, like when you start scaling, you really want somebody who's in charge of procurement because it's about making sure the right materials being sourced for the right price and the right quantities. It's getting at the right time.
How do you, because that's an important position, right? Very important position. I would argue in some cases probably one of the most important positions because she's gonna be looking at delays. She's gonna be buying material at a good price. How do you keep her accountable, right? And making sure that she's not, slacking off. Because the thing about it is, how you have certain positions where you're like, damn, like even though I don't want to do it, but I'm scared to pass that off to somebody because what if they slack? You know what I mean?
No, that's a good point. So I set budgets, and then what they do is she'll send out for bid and say, hey, like here's our bids for lumber. I should go to this guy because it's whatever reason, like it's the best, if it's lead time issue or price, and then I say, okay, I approve. And obviously if she's showing when she's communicating with me, she's showing here's our budget, here's versus actuals. And if we have anything that's going to go over budget, like, hey, like, okay, why are we going over budget?
Yeah.
Was the budget not right to begin with? Or like, what is going on? So
gotcha.
There's like, she's not just kind of let loose to do whatever she swipe credit cards however she wants.
Gotcha.
But so I basically, as CEO, approve purchases like above a certain like threshold.
And also, is she constantly looking for new vendors to work with?
Yeah. So we're like, hey, like we need some more cabinet vendors or flooring or tile or whatever we might need.
And she'll be out researching all day. That's what she's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
So it's nice. I mean, when I worked in oil and gas, we had procurement, then we had sourcing. She's kind of procurement and sourcing all in one.
Gotcha.
Just because we're not at that scale yet. We got a sourcing person.
Absolutely.
But
I love it.
And then we have a guy who drives our van around, and he's kind of our like job site superintendent, like transportation guy, and he's really good. So he also helps like kind of do our warranty stuff. So he's kind of like in our van, and so when we move stuff around, he's there. We need him like waiting on site for inspector. He's there. So he's a good guy to have.
Yeah.
I mean, having a guy like that, you want to have scale. Like, you can't just have one project and pay a guy to drive a van around all day.
You got to be building.
So, and then last but not least, my fiance, she works part-time for Vecino Homes. So she's our like designer. So she's I mean, I really credit her for like just like making like our home so sharp. I mean, not if you think you've seen like the Staples project we did, she did the interior design for that.
Nice.
And like the architecture. And then, same with, she does like our mood boards. And then she's doing like all of our latest architecture stuff. She did our container project, like the interior design. A buddy of mine, Ben of Draft House, did the archecture.
Oh, so you've done a container home as well?
We did a 5-unit shipping container apartment complex.
Wow.
So
bro, you take all of the risk.
Yeah. And we got our bank to finance it. It was crazy. But
wow.
So, but as far as having like somebody like I said, having somebody on staff who does your architecture, interior design, like you don't need that. Like if you're starting out, like hire that out, contract everything out. Don't hire anybody. Don't give people a salary until like you can. That's a really important lesson. Like
absolutely.
But yeah, we have a ship. You got to come by and visit.
Yeah, I should, man. I would love to do that, man. So tell me this. Now, okay, so you have these 9 projects. You complete them. Did you take any losses on any of them?
Let's see. I mean, we didn't make very much money. Like me and the partner, we made like $12,000 each on our, like, because we, money just got, we bought these 4 houses. They were horrible condition. Yeah, we maybe like made 15 to 20,000 each, but it was a lot of work. It was not worth it, but we learned. And so that was when I first started my first new homes, and we made good money on those. I mean, at least I think we made like 52,000 each or so on those. Man, we bought this land for like $8 a foot.
Wow.
Like, I don't know if you remember back in the day when you could buy land for $8 a foot.
Yeah, but not happening these days.
It was crazy cheap. And so in the flip, I think we made money on all those projects. I've lost money on projects before, but those ones we made money on.
So let's talk about the ones where you did lose, which, some people. Here's the deal: some people lose at the beginning, and some people lose in the middle. I definitely rather lose later than before, because when you lose later, at least you got a proof of concept that it actually works. Some people lose in the beginning and they quit. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, this may not be for me.
To me, I think you got to look at it like this way: a loss is a lesson. It's education, right? You're paying money to get educated.
Facts.
If you don't learn from that, then that's on you, right? So I did a high end flip, kind of west of the Galleria.
Okay.
And so I don't know the numbers. We bought this thing for like 230, I want to say, that ish. And it was a single story like rancher, and we like popped the roof and made this like beautiful like mid-century modern house. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
But we put like too much into it. We put like $200,000 into it.
Wow.
And then we took hard money, and so the interest just killed us. Ate us up. So we lost I think I lost like $10,000 on that deal. So because when you're buying it for like 200, we put another 200 into it. Yeah, there was like 100 something delta, but that got eaten up with interest. I think I had some investors in it that got paid out. So like when you take investor money, you got to pay yourself last. Yeah, absolutely. And so basically, after everyone got paid, there was negative money left for me. So
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that lesson. By the way, okay, you ended up with a $10,000 deficit on that deal. What do you feel like you had to take an L on it, or do you feel like it was some things you could have done differently that would have still got you some good results and a positive profit?
Yeah, I think they could have definitely had a positive profit. I mean, I think we kind of went over the top with remodeling it. We just put in like extremely luxurious appliances. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen like the built-in refrigerator. I think we spent like $7,000 on a refrigerator. Like, wow. We spent like that's one thing I see a lot of people doing is they go above and beyond what the market calls for, and it's just you're not gonna make money. You're not gonna recuperate money on that extra stuff you're doing. I think I could have bought it a little cheaper, and then I think I could have remodeled it for a little bit cheaper. I just don't think it was a great deal. Gotcha. To begin with, I bought it from a wholesaler, and at the time it was like, wholesalers, it's gonna be a great deal. And then I realized that just because it's a wholesaler, just like with a foreclosure, it doesn't. The source doesn't make it a good deal. It's like you have to look at the numbers. Yeah.
And so you popped the roof. Do you feel like that was necessary to hit your number?
I'd have to kind of really go back in time and talk to the realtors. Yeah. It was super cool, but yeah, that was a super large expense. We had a framing crew too that like kind of jerked us around for a while. They're like, they said they knew what they're doing, and then we like found out very quickly they had no idea what they're doing. So like you really need to vet your contractors because they can really, waste your time, waste your money,
Either it can be horrible. So let's talk about vetting contractors. This is big. Obviously, you can make good money flipping houses. We all know that. That's understood. The make or break is the contractors, the budget, buying it right? And then the market, which is typically the unknown. But if you're buying it right, then you shouldn't be so dependent on the market to where the market is going to dip so much to where you lose money if you run your numbers conservatively. But the contractor piece, how are you vetting your contractors? How quickly are you severing ties when it goes bad? Are you going after anybody if they, screw you over too much? Like, how is that relationship set up for you?
So for us, we have like it's relationship based. So if you don't have any relationship with contractors, you need to get referrals. So you need to know somebody who has a relationship. So it's making sure people have references. Mm-hmm. Somebody can, if they can't provide a reference or they can't bring you to a job site they're currently working on, don't deal business with them because hey, like let me look at a job site you're at. Like I'm not at any job sites. Like why aren't you working? Like then I don't want to work with you. Yeah. And then make sure that they're willing to sign a contract. If they're not willing to sign a contract, don't do business with them.
Facts.
If they're not willing to sign a W-9, don't do business with them. Meaning that they don't want to pay their taxes, then you're going to end up paying the taxes in the long run.
Facts.
Which has happened to me. So yeah, I was young and dumb and didn't get W-9s, and then the IRS came out. I had to basically pay their tax bill. So make sure you're getting W-9s from all your contractors before you pay them, because after you pay them, they will not sign them usually.
Facts.
So, and then
your problem.
If they're licensed, like if a license is required, make sure they're licensed.
Yeah.
If they're a plumber, electrician, or HVAC guy in the city of Houston, they need to be licensed. If they won't show you their license, don't do business with them. And then also like if they're
you're making them show you the license?
Yeah, just like, hey, like send us a copy of your license. Yeah,
wow,
that's not a big deal. I mean, because it's like
if you're official, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
I've never asked anybody for their license, but I am now thanks to Jeff.
Yeah,
you think you can send it over real quick? Let me check that out.
And like sometimes people work under other people's licenses, but like show me whatever license you're working under.
Yes.
So and then make sure they're pulling permits.
Yes.
Because I just talked to one of my mentees and he was talking about the sewer connection. Like they did the sewer connection already. I'm like, how long ago did you ask them to do it? It's like less than 2 weeks. I'm like, I don't know if they pull permits because it takes much longer than 2 weeks to get a sewer connection. When you're working in the city right away, it takes weeks and weeks to get, so I'm like, dude, make sure they actually passed inspection.
Facts.
So don't pay people they passed inspection because they didn't, and you paid them. Getting them back out there to fix whatever needs to get fixed isn't really tough.
Wow.
So, but vetting their work, right? Making sure that they have references, they're going to show you past work they've done, making sure they're willing to, sign a contract, pay their taxes, and then, get paid after the work is done. If they're asking for like 50% up front, they're like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
As a business owner, as a contractor, you need to have some capital on hand. If you have no lines of credit, no capital on hand, then, you're not going to be in a position to take your time and do the work that needs to get done properly. You're going to be in a rush to get paid. So, it's like all of our guys, we really don't front money. Like our framers, like we buy the lumber, they bring the nails and all the tools and stuff to do the job. So, but like our HVAC guy, like he puts all the system in, he passes inspection, then we pay him. It's typically like for a rough in, like 70% and that final 30%.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that kind of answered your question.
Nah, 100%. I mean, that was like perfectly stated. So now, okay, so you move out of these flips and now you're primarily just doing what? New construction? No flips?
No. We basically were, when I first started, obviously I was 100% flip. Then I became like probably 60-40, 60% being flip, 40% new construction. Now, then it's kind of slowly evolved to like probably 90% new construction, 10% like flip.
Why is that?
Because we're scaling. Like we have overhead, right? We got employees, and it's just easier. You get economies of scale when you are working on more homes at the same time. So you buy one piece of land, and like for example, like chop it into 10 different pieces, right? That's going to give you a lot more work versus one flip house here and one flip house there. And every time you do a flip, it's unique. And so when you can go ahead and take advantage of economies of scale and have several projects all located next to each other, your security costs go down. You're like, you only need one portable toilet. Well, depending on the crews you have. You can go ahead and save costs, and we try to go ahead and concentrate. It just makes it easier to run projects because
absolutely.
Right now we're running, we have a community of 5, a community of 4. We just finished a community of 2 for another builder, another developer. We have our office building and then a flip. And if like those 5 and 4 were all individual projects. Like we don't have the capacity to do
Yeah,
that.
that'd be crazy.
It's a lot easier to run. The difficulties of running one flip versus like 5 of the same new house, it's probably almost equal.
Wow.
So
wait a minute. You said one flip.
yeah,
It's basically you would equate the work of it as one flip is 5 new construction.
yeah. You can. I mean, to me, like flipping, like the extent of flipping that I've been talking about, is harder than new construction.
Absolutely, I agree. And it's like when you tell people that, they be like, "Nah, but it's already there." I'm like, "Bro, but new construction, it's just Lego blocks." You know what I mean? If you can follow the directions or make sure that the people are following the directions, you're good.
Yeah. It's like like Lego blocks, like the IKEA instructions, like
Absolutely.
It's not that simple, but it's a lot easier in the fact that there's standard pricing in new construction. So you talk about like, okay, I need to frame up this house. It's 2,000 square feet. Okay, well, like our framer charges like $650 to $750 a foot.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can send the plans and get okay, like electrician's charging us like $4 a foot. So you can put your budgets together very quickly.
Absolutely.
Versus when it's an existing home and you don't know what's behind the walls. You don't know if there's structural integrity, so you don't know if you need framing or not.
Yeah.
So it
Some
can get
scary
quite complex.
stuff. Yeah. So you talked about new construction. You're doing that primarily. What is, the ideal, let's say if you're going into a new deal, what ideal profit you want to see at the end of one of those new constructions before you even do the deal or accept it?
Yeah. So when I did my pro forma, I'm on 20%.
Okay.
Kind of gross profit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's of money invested.
Yeah.
So I'm investing like $300,000, like of a total cost, like $300,000. We're not putting cash out.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's including leverage. So if the $300,000 of cost, we want to make $60,000.
Gotcha.
Gross, because then we have to take all our costs in consideration.
Absolutely. And so what's next for Jeff, the builder, in terms of growth? So let's say 5 years from now, what is Jeff doing?
So our goal, at Vecino Homes is to go ahead and we're doing about 120 homes a year. So it's basically 40 homes every, 4 months. If that makes sense. So like kind of trimesters of a year, but it's not going to happen like that. We're not going to start, 40 homes on January 1st. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So want to get to a point where we can run 40 homes at a time. We've gone up to 20. It was quite stressful. But we're running, I think I said about like 12 or 14 projects right now. So we want to basically do 120 homes at an average price like $400,000, which will get us about $50 million a year.
Nice.
So right now, like we're closer to like 10 million a year in gross revenue.
Love it.
On top of that, we want to have $50 million of property being holding. So we're
nice.
we have 29 rental units right now, and so it's a mixture of single family. The units, some of the single family like ADU in the back. We have a 5-plex in the Heights. That's with me and 2 partners.
New construction?
No, the 5-plex in the Heights was existing.
Gotcha.
I do have a new construction. I call it a 6-plex. It's technically 2 single family homes that each have an ADU.
Gotcha.
But the single family home in the front was a 3, 2.5, and then the primary bedroom was like we walled off she walked over the door and then have exterior stair.
Gotcha.
So that's Airbnb, and the rest of the house is long-term rental.
Nice.
So
basically, can you walk me through the strategy to that? Because it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you set it up to where if you needed to convert it, you could and get that maximum value.
Correct.
And then, but from a rental standpoint, you maxed out the cash flow by having it that way. But give me your...
No, you said exactly right. So like we built the project, we pitched it to the bank to finance it. We wanted to appraise as high as possible. So a single family home typically appraises higher per square foot than like a multifamily. And so we set that up as 2 single families with ADUs. But now with Chapter 42, right, the change of livable places, it's much easier to actually build ground up multifamily. So we're going to start doing that. So we got 3 small apartment buildings in the plan. So we're going to build a 8-plex, 12-plex, and 18-unit apartment building.
Nice.
So, and those, because of the size, when you start getting over, 4 family or 4 units, then you start getting commercial appraisals, right? So instead of doing comps, they're going to appraise based off of cap rate and like a net operating income. So,
Absolutely.
We have a commercial building on Emancipation, 77004, near Emancipation Park, and like we got an appraisal on that, and like, man, the appreciation is crazy. It's all forced appreciation, because it's based off cash flow.
Absolutely. So you're building off Emancipation as well.
That was an existing building.
Gotcha.
We bought. It was like a barbershop down, and it had like 13 bedrooms up, and I don't know if you can kind of think about what it was before.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It was for very short stays.
Yeah. Recreational activities.
Yeah. So, but that became an Airbnb up, and then 2 small commercial spaces down.
Nice.
So it's so I want to definitely get into more of the commercial real estate space, and to me, like, commercial residential where it's like the small multifamily.
Absolutely.
So, because I mean, like I said, the sixplex, like, I actually got it commercially appraised, and it appraised for like, I think 1.15, and we had like 700 into it, I think, maybe.
Wow.
So it's basically, like I said, because it's appraising on a cash flow basis and not as like comps.
I love that, man. That is so dope, man. This is amazing. So let's talk about this real quick. You mentioned you want to own more property and you want to continue to build more. What is that number? Let's say when you hit this number, hey, I think I've done enough. What, or is that even a reality for you at this point?
I mean, I'm very fortunate because I really love what I do. I mean, like I said, like developing and building other people. So, I mean, in the future, like, I maybe want to step back and hire a CEO, but I don't know. I don't think there's going to be like a finish line, like, hey, I'm done. I finished, and then
you're just going to continue to build.
Spike the football, like, walk off the field. I mean, I kind of see it, just like, so my dad just turned 66.
Okay.
My little brother took over as CEO. He's still very integral in the business. My dad's still selling, but he's taking time now to like travel a bunch. Like they're just now, like, stepping back, but they're still involved. So I kind of see that happening. I don't see, like, obviously some people build businesses to sell. Yeah. That's obviously the best way. When you build a business, like, you want it to be sellable.
Absolutely.
Right? Like right now, my business isn't sellable. It's because of me.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have enough systems in place where I could just simply turn the keys over to like another guy and somebody buy it and then just run it. It's not going to happen that smoothly. Like, we're still not there. So it'd be good to get the business to a place where it can kind of run itself.
Yeah.
On kind of cruise control, and I can still be involved. But that's kind of like 10 years down the line.
Absolutely. And so let's talk acquisitions. So your acquisitions, because you just mentioned that you're running and gunning yourself. Mm-hmm. So acquisitions, are you the primary person that's saying, I like this and we're going to pursue this? Or do you have a team set up that's kind of helping with that?
I wish I had a team. No, it's just me right now. I mean, I've obviously, like, my realtor, Chris Van, he's involved, and like, we talk about deals and kind of making sure he helps me on the numbers. But as far as the development side, acquiring land, it's mostly on me. And, we still buy deals on MLS through wholesalers, through word of mouth. Like, we got people who like literally walk by one of our projects and say, hey, I own this lot. Do you want it? And can we make a deal? Like, if the numbers work, sure. Yeah. So, but it's just me. I mean, that's one of your businesses, right? Like, you guys do acquisitions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, that's mainly one of the reasons why I wanted to get into I've always wanted to build. So that's always been kind of like a thing that I've wanted to do, but I was good at wholesaling, right? And we were very successful wholesaling. And now what I realized about the wholesaling is that wholesaling is not as vertically integrated with owning properties as people would think, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you want to be a successful wholesale company that's pushing out, 7 figures worth of, contracts a year, you're going to have to sell the majority of your best deals in order to reach those kind of numbers, right? Yeah. And so your best deals you end up selling. So I ain't like that. So now I'm like, let me slow down, get into a slower model where I can actually start to hold on to more things. Ultimately, I want to build for myself and help other people who may want a builder with integrity to build stuff for them as well. That's kind of where I'm at with that. And I know you're kind of in the same lane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we discussed, and that's great because if you only have wholesaling like in your arsenal, like you only have one option is this, you got to wholesale, you got to sell it. But if you have multiple tools in your tool belt, you're like, hey, do I wholesale it? Do I keep it? Like that gives you a lot more options. But yeah, like you mentioned, we're looking to now build for other developers, and then at the same time, we're rolling out a mentorship coaching program. So to try to help people start their own.
So let's talk about those. So we'll start with the development piece. So I'm a new up-and-coming investor. I want to hire Jeff the Builder to build me a duplex. I know that you hate roundabout numbers, but roughly speaking, what am I looking at per foot on average to if I want to work with you?
So it really depends on the product because like when we talked, I mean, you can build. We're actually doing a duplex right now that's 1,200 feet, so it's 2 1-bedrooms, right?
Yes.
Our cost per square foot is going to be super high. It's going to be like 125, like 100 something a foot. But essentially, typically the smaller square footage, the higher the dollar per square foot.
Gotcha.
Right? Because when you
certain things don't change,
right? Because you look at a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house that's 1,600 square feet, versus a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house that's 2,600 square feet. What changes? It's just more empty space.
Yes.
So like you still have the same number of plumbing fixtures. It's got one kitchen.
Yes.
So duplex is actually more expensive because you get 2 kitchens.
You
got 2 laundry rooms.
Yeah.
More bathrooms typically. So I mean, you're talking like probably high 120s maybe, 130s. It just depends on the square footage. It depends on the finishes because if you're talking about like are you talking about a duplex in like Independence Heights where it's going to sell for 500s? You're talking about like a duplex that's in Fifth Ward that's going to sell for like 300s. So are you talking carpet, in bedrooms? You're talking about hardwood floors in bedrooms. So there's a lot of like devil in the details. But no one's building for under $100 a foot. If you're building for $100 a foot, like
problematic.
I would be concerned because I mean, I don't know. Do you know anybody building under $100 a foot?
Well, not. So here's the thing. This is what I've run into, and maybe you can give some insight on how to handle this, right, for somebody that's new. I've heard of the price, but when you get into it, right, you end up spending more because what they do is they'll bait you in with a low price, and then all of the things that are normal for you to have a house complete, they change order you for.
Yeah. So that's why it's important to have a good contract in place. So we have a contract we use. And I mean, I feel like it's fair. It's written by my lawyer. To be fair, obviously, if you work with us, read the contract. Don't just take my word for it.
Facts.
But if you're working with anybody, read the contract. Make sure you have a contract. I've seen too many people who don't have contracts.
Yes.
And that's just asking for trouble. So make sure the contract is written, it's extensive, it covers all the grounds. Because you're right. Like you can get bait and switch where somebody puts a low price to get you in the door. You start working together, and all of a sudden they start change ordering you. Like, hey, that's extra. You're like, hey, I want a fan. Like, no, like that's extra. So, man, like some builders like will put no fans. Right? Like, have you seen that?
Yeah. Or, I don't even want to. I've had some nightmare stories where, things that are supposed to be standard, they'll just tell you it's not standard, and because you're at this price, and then you end up having but these are things that literally wouldn't even pass a general inspection for FHA home, right? So, it's important to make sure that you are really, really clear on what you're getting out of the deal before you even do it. So tell me this, so your coaching program, who's your avatar for that particular program? Like, who are you looking to teach primarily?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the avatar would be somebody who's done a deal or two and has deals in the works. Because essentially what I'm trying to do is like throw gasoline on the fire. Because if I go in there and there's ambers, you throw gasoline, it puts the fire out.
So you're not looking for the newbie.
The newbie is not ideal. I just I will work with a newbie if they understand that. Because what I want to do is, like I said, just really accelerate the business. And if there's really nothing going on, it's hard to accelerate from nothing. But it's not impossible. Like you can go ahead and get a deal real quick as long as they have the willingness to act quickly. Ideally, they have some deals going. They've done deals. They have some deals going, so we can go ahead and essentially, help them optimize those deals, make sure they're really where they should be, and then kind of just, it's really, there's no one-on-one, which is really tailored to like, what are your goals? Like in 5 years, we're going to be, okay, we're going to work our ass off to get you there.
Gotcha.
Because not everyone has the same goals. Some
Facts.
people say, I want to make as much money as possible. I'd be like, no, I want to set my business up where it can work the most without me. I want to, have more time for myself and my family.
Yeah.
So not everybody just says like, hey, I want to make as much money as possible, or I want to build as much as possible. Some people want to build in the suburbs. Like we do primarily infill building.
Yes.
We do 100% infill. So
Yeah, 100.
some people want to build, like I have a buddy who builds in Dayton, right, where they have to put like, septic and water wells everywhere. So it's it's very quick to permit, but like you got to spend like 50 grand on like infrastructure for utilities.
It's a lot of heavy lifting.
So, but it's essentially tailor made. It looks at, essentially I tell them like, look, if you're going to be a builder developer, those are two unique standalone businesses. You're a builder and a developer.
Yeah.
And each business needs to make money.
Facts.
You can't like, have your developer robbing the builder robbing the developer.
And all got to eat.
Yeah.
Separately.
So, and then like I see too many people who like, oh, well, I'm also a realtor, so I'm going to like discount my fee to myself. Like, well, you're just robbing yourself. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
So,
like everybody gets paid.
Yeah. Everyone should get paid a fair price to do good work.
Absolutely.
You get in trouble when you start trying to like pay way too little for a service, and then you're going to get sub-quality service.
Facts.
And then, so it's the builder, the developer, and then it's also just overall business. Just looking at, okay, like we need to look at cash flow monthly, like make sure you're making money.
Yes.
Because you can do a lot of deals and then make no money.
Make no money. My goodness. It's a real thing. So, okay. So what would somebody, let's say, what would they typically learn? I know you said it is individualized, but in general, what would they learn, and how much time are you kind of allocating for those students?
So we meet once a week for an hour, face to face. But basically, so from the builder side, we look at, okay, how to go ahead and build out your project. Like, okay, here's the order of operations. Here's how long they should take. Here's how much you should pay, right? Because like I took a student on, and first build, we saved like 50 grand. It was building $1.5 million spec home.
Wow.
So he basically saved, I would say, around $50,000 on that build. And then even like, hey, I will share my contractors with you, so basically kind of, make sure you know how to vet his contractors. So just taking them through the whole process.
Nice.
And then, one thing that's super important is even the city of Houston is utilities, making sure you know how to get utilities on.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people who have houses that are finished and are sitting without power because little do they know that CenterPoint doesn't have the infrastructure in place to get power to your house.
Got to bring it out.
And so they got to go in and put a new pole down. They got to put a new transformer in the line. So it's just basically like A to Z, how to build a house.
Gotcha.
And then it's also like reviewing your plans. Make sure you know you understand your plans. Because a lot of people don't understand their plans.
I'm like, look, I know it's a room.
Yeah.
It's a kitchen right here. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's okay. I mean, it's definitely a learning curve. So making sure you understand your architectural, your structurals. If you have civil drawings, you understand those drawings. So like I said, that's the builder side. Making sure you have like the right contracts in place. And like I said, for project management, we use Builder Trend. They don't have to use Builder Trend. It's the one we recommend. But making sure they have systems in place that they're checking on their projects every day, whether it's them themselves or they have somebody in the field for them. So in Builder Trend, you have a function called daily logs. And so essentially, we've written a customized report. And so they have to go out and check the boxes. So like, are the plans and permits on site? Yes or no? It's a drop down, right? Is the address on site posted? Because I've driven my houses and there's no address, and the inspectors won't inspect if there's no address a lot of times.
That's a fact.
And so, like, do we have? Is there a dumpster? Is it full? Is it half full? Is the toilet cleaned? Like, just to go through the checklist, take all the pictures of the job site. So every day we got pictures, right? So it's really important to go ahead and plan your jobs, and then just like I said, just track the daily progress.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, like, things will start getting away from you.
Oh yeah, real quick, and and people can sneak in bad things into your deals. It can get ugly. So yeah, man, that's dope, man. So where can someone find you if they're looking to find Jeff the Builder and connect with you? Where would they reach out to you?
So I guess the best place would be Instagram. So it's at Jeff_builder.
DA.
Like the shirt. So, But yeah, Instagram is probably the best place to get in touch with me.
Nice. Cool deal. Well, listen, man, I just want to say thank you so much for coming in and sharing so much knowledge, man. And I definitely want to check out your office. I definitely got to get out there one day, man, and see what that's like, man. And I just want to say I appreciate you. Any final words you want to leave to anybody that's, looking to get into space?
Well, again, thank you so much for having me on the show. This is awesome. I really love this experience. But I guess don't get discouraged. Go out there. Like I said, if this is something you want to try it. Make sure you understand your risks. Talk to somebody who's had experience, but take the leap. I think you mentioned everyone should try a flip or two, and I agree.
Absolutely.
Just enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. Well, listen, man, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you again. And listen, this is another episode of the No Stingy Energy Podcast, where we talk wealth, health, relationships, all of the things in between. So with that being said, listen, see y'all on the other side of success. All right, peace. Listen, if you're looking to get into anything dealing with a CRM and you're a wholesaler, you may be fixing and flipping, whatever it may be, make sure you reach out to our next sponsor, Taskify. Roll the clip.
Hey, what's up, everybody? A lot of people struggle in their business when it comes to real estate or just any business in general. Reason being because they probably using a pen pad, Excel sheet. You got to realize you got to treat your business like a business. Make sure you check out Taskify CRM. It's a CRM system. It texts and drips campaign, email. You can actually sign contracts within your CRM. I use Taskify CRM. If you want to check out the CRM that I use right now, make sure you check out that QR code, scan it with your phone. It'll show you inside of what we're using today. If you want to take your business to the next level, check out Taskify CRM. Peace.
Hey, listen, a lot of you guys are out there paying mortgages, all of these different things, and you're overpaying for that interest, okay? So you definitely want to check out our next sponsor and get your free savings and earnings report. Go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and get your free savings and earnings report. All right? But check out what ET has to say about this.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.